Hi, I'm Richard Friedman, and welcome to my video cartoon for February 27th, 2026. Here today we have the title of this cartoon is Richard's Trump 2019 Iran Flashback, breaking the nuke deal with Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. So back in President Trump's first term, he broke the deal that the Obama administration had established with Iran as far as the nuke deal. That was broken back then, and when this cartoon that I'm going to show you right now was made just after that, where Iran now had no deal with the United States following that, and they began to enrich uranium. So at that point in time, I did this cartoon here on Sunday, July 7th, 2019. Okay, and here it is. This is the cartoon here, and you see this, the guy with a thumbs up. These workers, these people are working at an uranium nuclear facility, enriching uranium, and there goes the thing here, and they're enriching uranium. And they have on the screen here, in front of them is the Supreme Leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, and there's President Trump, who's delivering his message back then, be careful, be careful. And that was back in 2019 here. You can see that. And what this man here was doing here, the guy is he's giving thumbs up to President Trump here, and he instead of paying attention to the Supreme Leader, he glanced over at President Trump, saying, and raised gave President Trump a thumbs up in Iran, which could be a pretty. This is in my cartoon. You see, this is me creating this scenario. So he gave President Trump thumbs up. Now, turns out this man gave President Trump thumbs up because before the Iran deal was before President Trump broke the deal, he couldn't get a job because the Iranians were, I assume, abiding by that deal of the Obama administration, and they weren't enriching uranium to the extent that they probably started after the deal was broken. So here he gave thumbs up to President Trump, and he's turning around and he's saying, basically, he's saying this, giving thumbs up to Trump, saying, you guys have to understand, without Trump, I would be in my Uncle Ashkan's Subway in Brooklyn making Subway sandwiches. I'd be making tuna Subway sandwiches in my Uncle Ashkan's Subway right now, because he had been in America, and they probably called him back, or he went back to go back to work after President Trump broke the deal at this uranium enrichment factory. And that's just something that I just created it here. Back then, I just came across this morning, and I thought it would be appropriate to show now. And just at the spur of the moment, I'm doing this here. And here he is. That's his explanation to the Iranian authorities, who saw him watching Trump and giving him thumbs up, and that he was glad to be back in Iran at his job. And thanks to President Trump breaking the deal, he now has a job, a respectable job, working in the Iranian nuclear enrichment facility. And the other workers are paying. You see, the other workers are paying attention strictly to the Ayatollah Khamenei. And he glanced over at President Trump here, saying, "Be careful," and this and that. And there it is. And that was the cartoon. He's grateful to be back, for President Trump breaking the deal to give him the chance to go back to work at the go back to Iran and work at the Iranian nuclear enrichment facility. And there is those things that they use to enrich uranium. And there he's giving thumbs up, and he doesn't want them getting angry, to say the least, at him. So he's giving this explanation, and there you have it. There it was. And these are people who are paying strict attention to the Ayatollah, and they're not moving. He's not there. They're waving, and the other guy just looked like he was giving he gave thumbs up to President Trump. So that's the essence of the cartoon back then, and it's symbolic of what's happening now, in the sense that I want to give you a little insight here. and you decide on this matter here. They're telling us now that Iran is only a week away from having an industrial strength enrichment where they could easily develop a nuclear weapon, and they're working on long-range missiles. So you put two and two together, they're saying it won't be long before Iran could launch a nuclear weapon at the United States. That's what they're saying. Now, President Trump, who relies, I think the only person that has a little bit of influence on President Trump with respect to Iran, he has they say he listens to him. Let's just put that there. He's a key advisor. Let's say he's General Caine, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Caine. Okay? Now, General Dan Caine. Now, General Caine, it's been reported that he has advised President Trump there are grave risks in going into this. We have all these ships here. We have the USS. We have now to me, it looked reminiscent of D-Day. I mean, they say the Iraq War. I don't recall that, but I recall scenes from D-Day, from the D-Day operation, when you saw those old pictures, all those ships going into Normandy, and everybody. This is we're not invading Iran. This is talking about a military strike, but it's reminiscent of those images. The most powerful aircraft carrier we have, the USS Ford, is there, and the Lincoln, the USS Lincoln, is joining in, and it's an armada here. It's a tremendous amount of force. Now, what's been reported is that President Trump is dismayed over why Iran hasn't been more coming forth with offers of peace, saying, "Oh, please, Mr. President Trump, we'll talk. Let's talk about this." And they're not taking that stand. They're taking the stand. It appears, from what I read, that they won't negotiate under military pressure. And what's happening here is that we're heading towards a showdown. Showdown at the OK Corral here. Only it's a much more, it's a grave situation. We're presenting with two grave situations of Iran having the potential for launching a nuclear weapon at the United States and striking us, and the other potential is for getting into a long drawn-out war in the Mideast, because General Caine has advised President Trump that there's no way in one strike that you can disable Iran completely and just say goodbye to their nukes. President Trump said, we destroyed their nukes before when we bombed them, and now the concern here is that they're 1 week away from developing a nuclear weapon. So obviously that didn't pan out. The idea that we totally destroyed their weapons, President Trump had said that initially when we bombed their site a while ago, and now they were only a week away from developing, they're saying, a nuclear weapon that is industrial strength, that not just used for power in their for their electric grids, but goes beyond that, industrial grade, that could be boom, a week away, they say they could have it perfected and ready to go into one of their long-range missiles, and we know they're working on. They have a long-range missile program. So you put two together. So I'm repeating myself a little bit, but the point here is that it can't be diminished. We're at a unacceptable, a grave situation here. And the thing is that General Caine has said the idea that if we get into a long-range, widespread conflict in the Mideast with Iran, then we use up all our weapons that we have, and we won't, if God forbid, people say it's inevitable that China goes after Taiwan, we'll be out of weapons from all the weapons that we expended in this Iranian war. We won't have sufficient weapons to fight, God forbid, China if the decision is made to do that. If China goes take one, if or when, I think it's more of a question of when China goes after its territory. They call it its territory because they feel that it's part of their country. I'm not going to go into historical talk about it, but China feels that Taiwan is part of China, and they're very strong. The leader, Xi Jinping, President Xi Jinping, has made that very clear. So he says it's just a matter of time, and so the thing is that we need the weapons, and if we get into a long, drawn-out war with Iran, we're going to use up our weapons, and all the men we're going to lose. So I'm saying to you, based upon what General Caine has advised, that the risks to General Caine, Joint Chiefs of Staff, Dan Caine, has advised President Trump, the risks are very great, and then you have the other side of the coin. The risks are very great if Iran develops a industrial strength. They enrich their uranium to the extent that they perfect a nuclear bomb, and they'll have I'm repeating myself, but it has to be repeated. They could strike us with nuclear weapons. That's also unacceptable. So we're at, I don't know what to say. I'm just saying you decide. And that I just give you the facts here that Dan Caine has put to President Trump, that there are tremendous risks involved in a long, drawn-out war with Iran, and that no one strike can do the job. And that's the basic thing here, and that's the basic thing here that I said, and I presented you that cartoon with the point that to make the point of what I'm saying here, and that we're still at that square, and the results of the idea is, if we get a deal with Iran, and if it's the same thing that President Obama negotiated, then where are we? You know, what can President Trump say he's accomplished if he gets the same deal that Obama has? So President Trump is in a bind as well here, because he broke that deal. So I just put it to you like I see it, and you decide, folks. Thank you for watching my video. God bless you. Hang in there, and I'll see you next time.